Ah, totally amazing here. Again, the home of scientific knowledge, truth, discovery, research, and of course reverse engineering it since the 1st of January 2K19. This is just a following on, so greetings again, dear lovely viewer. The previous episode, we saw that we'd actually started the reverse engineering. We looked at what reverse engineering is, and we started pulling apart our MAKITA device. This is what we have so far in episode 2. Now, I don't know how long this episode is going to go on for before we actually run out of time. So let's just carry on and see what we get. Now again, this is following the same procedure, so everything there, as you can see, the layout is facing that way. Now we need to remove the second piece, and that looks like the rear spindle here, and we're just going to simply pull that, and that's now actually separated itself, giving access to the rear motor cage assembly. This is ideal, and now we know exactly what we're doing there. Now, of course, trying to put this into a folder is now going to start getting difficult. So this is at the point where we'll need to either get a box, so I'll need to find one of those, some sort of box or some container to put things in a fairly respectable order. And we'll just need to remove this just quickly, not the first part. It's probably going to come unstuck. Not that though. Just move our cordless driver. Hopefully that doesn't come flying apart. That would just be a fail. Now, what we're going to do, as you can see, now need to find a way of sticking that down, and we need to put a warning there for oil, so that will have a, say, exclamation mark there, and then we can say oil this part, and that is this way into the device. And of course, we have the video here to see what we're doing. So I can actually refer back to this myself. So when we're doing the refitting, that will just simply, got to be careful with that, it's a bit kind of forceful that, so there we are. Now we just need to tape that down. This might be an issue because the tape might not be strong enough. In fact, I know it won't be, so we'll probably end up having to use some other sort of tape. And the reason why I prefer using tape anyway is because it's not going to damage too much. As we can see, yeah, we might need to just go over that with some electrical tape, and then hopefully we can just remove that side trigger housing. Let's just get some electrical tape on this. That should stick it quite nicely to that paper. There we are. It's not brilliant, but I'd rather do this than actually risk either losing the component or whatever. There you can see it's now stuck down, and we can actually still follow exactly how this is going because it's dismantled too. So we know where that's come off of, because the yellow marking there, well, the orange marking, that has now just, it's got stuck and pulled one of the fasteners out from that number 7. So we'll need to stick that back down quickly. But we can see now exactly anyway where this has come from. Let's just stick it that back down there. I don't think we'll need to move that too much anyway. And then we can write on here as well to part 2 there, part 1 there. And as you can see, you can just go ahead and drop. Let's just get that back in if we can. Still stuck itself in there. It's 1 in. I think that might be okay. And that's 2. There we go. Now we can put our impact wrench down here again. And as we can see straight away, we now have a complete bookage of this. Now I've got to carefully see how this thing is going to come apart. If indeed it does. It does there. Not sure what that was that's fallen out. Is that gone? There it is. So that's something. So we'll need to put that piece there. I'm not sure what that is. Let's roll off again. So I need to take another piece of paper. And then we're going to do it in purple. A big question mark. What is that? Because anything that comes out whatsoever just sort of try and get that there, because we don't know what's important, you see, out of this. I mean, that could be a piece of motor brush, it could be anything, and I don't know. So all we need to do is mark that there with a number 1. And then if it does transpire that there's build plans anywhere, then we know. So I could just stick that there, and then we know that it's come from that. This is essentially what reverse engineering's about. Still, and I think I know what that's for. It might well be something that holds the frame together. I'm not sure how we're gonna get that out. Quite sure what goes on here. How we dismantle that. Not sure. That plastic shroud should come off. I think that might unclip somehow. I think it does. And there might be another fastener under that. I don't know how we get that off. Okay. And there's no fastener driver there, so let's take a flat bladed driver and let's see if that, without damaging this, see if that helps. Nope. It's interesting. So how's that meant to, it doesn't twist off, it doesn't pull off. That's interesting, because then I can't get the whole side of that off. It doesn't do that. That's interesting. Does it lever from under here, maybe? Nope. Nope. See, I've never taken one of these apart, you see. Ah, that click, that did something. That definitely did something. Nope. What's going on there? That's definitely something there, isn't it? Be careful with this because it's not mine and I don't want to completely ruin it. I'm not sure how we does that sort of pull forward? There's something holding that together, but where? 10 minutes in, not sure how we're gonna resolve that. That definitely pulls forward. That is my. That definitely does come forward though. We can see that there. How do we get that front shroud off? Is it anything to do with the motor assembly can't come out until that does? So that has to come off. There's no threads on it. So I'm assuming it does lever off, but is that moving the whole thing? That's definitely the whole thing there, isn't it? Okay. It's definitely that. Yeah, it's that plastic shroud. That has to come off somehow. It is that. And how? Could it be? Is that what that marking's there for, maybe? Could it be that? Does that pull forward? And will it come off? Do we need a second one in there? Is that possibly what it is? This is awkward. Let's try a second one. See if that will kind of help it. That cracking it, breaking it. I suppose if we do get stuck, now what I can do, so let me just put this there, it looks like it's sort of going to fly off now, doesn't it? It looks like a sort of a mechanical wasp. Yeah, sort of mechanical wasp. Rather weird. Now what we do have is, if we look here, I found the part number. Where is it? That. So I suppose if I wanted to, I could go off and Google that, find out what that part number's for, and that's going to tell me what device it is. And then I'll be able to figure out how to remove that front shroud. I'll give this another couple of goes, couple of minutes, and if I still can't get it off, then that's probably what I'll go off and do, because I don't really want to force that and break it. And it does look like as well on the inside there's going to be another couple of drivers, fasteners that hold the front of this together. So this definitely comes off. Definitely. Oh, there it is. Oh, wow. Okay. So that's how that come off then. In case you didn't see that, let's do that again. Which way round was it? Was it that way? It was that way. Aha! Now we know. So I can now refer to this as well. Stick that under there and it just sort of popped off. That was interesting. I've now just stuck it back on. And I shouldn't have. Okay, so what we did, so we have that stuck in there like that, and then I started poking around in there and did something and it popped off. There we are. Okay, so I've done it again. So you lever it from underneath, and then it just sort of pops off. And okay, was I doing that wrong then? Because it looks like here there's some sort of rubber seal. Maybe not, but that's the front cap. So we know how that is. What we can now do is take another picture, draw another pretty picture of that cap, and then we'll know where we go with that. But anyway, as I actually have this as the video, what I can now do, well, I won't need to draw a pretty picture of it now. Oh, I've just lost losing everything now because it's all running along. Hurry, hurry, hurry. And we can say in green, dismantle 3. Unclips from bottom. Leave it off. From far side. So now we actually have the instructions. And then, so that comes off like that. That'll go there. And then we just need to stick that down as well, because that's a fairly big component. We're gonna stick it down there. And when it comes to rebuilding, we're actually also, we can be able to clean this off as well, and then we know which way it goes as well. So that's no problem there. Just gonna stick that through there like so. And it's sort of kind of might have a little bit of problem there. We can still stick that into our clipboard. Now, although we're not realistically going to be able to shut our clipboard, it's all just to keep everything together. So we've got that what is that part, number 2, and of course number 1, and everything is still facing that direction. Now what we need to do is we need to draw the front of that. That's what we can do now using this, because now we need the removal order of these fasteners here, and then that's going to be able to extract this whole unit. So we're going to quickly just draw that head on. This is dismantle 4. Here we are. Hurry, hurry, hurry. So we're just going to draw basic base. So that's going to be square, and then with a handle like that. Doesn't have to be perfect anyway, not really. There's that, and there's the trigger mechanism there. Normally I would just take photos of this, but we can actually see what's going on. We can number this as well. 1, 2, 3 and 4. So that's fine. And again, we have this video as a reference point. So I'm just going to draw that. So there's the lamp. It's like that. So there. There's the handle coming down there. And then we have this round assembly like that. That's going to have the sort of front driver mechanism there with the square head attachment, and then around here we're going to have 4 bolts which look sort of like that, And now we're going to number those as well. And we're going to do this in lovely pink. I think so. That's that. And then we're just going to number 1, 2, 3, and 4. And we're probably going to find that this will have a removal sequence as well. So we'll say remove in order 1, 4, 3, 2. So 1, 4, 3, 2. Removal sequence. And then it will be 1, 4, 3, 2. And it will be 4, 1, 2. 4, 1, 2, 3. The fitting sequence. See if we can actually get this done before I run out of time. Now that is actually rather awkward because that is a hex nut fitting in there, and I'm not sure if I actually have a hex. Yes, I do. Yes, I do. Hex driver. There we are, and the good thing is I can now actually write down what size that is, and the first guess is straight away is correct, and that is a, get that back, it's a 3mm hex nut fitting. There's some unwanted wire that was stuck to me, so that is a 3mm. That's 3mm hex nut. So we can write on that pink 3mm hex, and then that's that sort of shape. And now all we need to do is just go ahead and remove it in that sequence. There we are. Just sort of loosens. Be nice to get this done for part 2 actually. That's the incorrect sequence there because I said 1, 4, 3, 2. So I'm just completely going against my own dismantle sequence there, which is very good. We can sort of loosen that off. There we are, 1, 4. You always do diagonally, so then you're not putting stresses on any of the parts. So it's diagonal, diagonal, across, diagonal. So 1, 4, 3. This will be 3 here, because you don't want to shear anything off. And then you can see actually it's starting to come off fairly easily. And then it's just the last one there. These are a bit fiddly, these. Now, in an ideal world, what I would also be doing as well is chucking some sort of Torx, well, you know, a torque bar or something on there to tell me exactly what sort of tension and torque I need it to, but I think that should be fairly straightforward. So let's see if we can actually get this off fairly quickly. Here's number 1, so you can just put that there with number 1. And of course, number 4. Gosh, my Allen keying's not particularly fast. Let's see. It's because I also know that I don't have much recording time left on there either. Hopefully these bolts are all the sort of same size. Just want to check that. Yeah, the washer's on there as well. It don't want to lose those. Probably ought not to be actually holding this off the bench, because the worst thing that could happen then is the whole thing sort of drops apart in my hands. That would be a huge fail. Let's just sort of lay it down. It's a bit easier. Okay. And then that whole motor assembly should just pull forward. Should do. All these bolts look like the same size anyway, but because they probably are torqued to various settings or whatever, then we'll have to be mindful of that. It's just good practice anyway to fit them back in the order that they've come from. There's some sort of rubber gasket on here as well. I'm assuming that's going to be to prevent material and debris being ingressed into it. We'll have to be mindful of that. I think it's a rubber gasket. It looks like that could be. There we go. So 1432, and now that whole unit comes off. Excellent. So there we are, and now we can actually remove the side, and now we can start to see what we're dealing with. So this is inside the MAKITA anyway. I'm going to obviously have to stick that to paper and make a note of this. And that's what's inside. And the trigger mechanism is what we have a problem with. And I have a funny feeling that it's something internal there. So we shouldn't be around with that. That's rather greasy and we don't need to. So my guess is it's going to be something here. That trigger mechanism just comes out, and there's just two connections on here that look like they just simply detach, and as you can see, that one is broken. Possibly that's our fault. There's our brake, and this is why we do reverse engineering. So now what we can actually go ahead and do is very carefully start removing this, in order, once we've got this put away, and then we'll know what we're up against. But that appears to be what it is. That's exactly what that appears to be. That wire has become broken. Now all we need to simply do is find another one of those, and that should come off somehow, and then we could just simply reattach a new wire there. If we can't actually do that, well, that's no problem. We can just simply find some way of dealing with this. Oh, and something's actually now just fallen out, and I will need to find that. So that's anyway what's inside this just now. I'm going to have to go off now and actually figure out what's just fallen out there, and we'll get back to this in part 3. That's why I probably shouldn't have been waving it around anyway. And in fact, actually, I already know what it is. It's actually it's that rocker switch there for the reversing mechanism. That's it there. So we need to actually get that put back in as well. That's rather awkward how that's sort of come out. There's the reversing mechanism there. So that would go in obviously first, I do believe. That's it, and then that simply slots back in. There we are. And then that's our mechanism there to change the direction. So as it happens, there's nothing really wrong with the switch. I think it was just that broken wire. So that's basically that. What we now need to do is get all of this nice and secured, get it all obviously taped down, and then we can come back to this in part 3, where we can actually look at then the final reverse engineer of this and investigate what caused that wire to break down. And that will be in the next episode on in some sort of moments from disaster. We're going to actually have a look in exact scenarios of what caused that wire to break and the device to fail on moments from disaster. See you in the next episode.